Hey, it's John and Mike from brew-dudes.com, and today we're doing a tasting of Mike's ESB. If there's one style you associate with Brewches Mike here, is the extra special bitter. Outside of like a brown ale, English brown, you know, this is your style, isn't it? This is your style.
I need a moment.
I think you should just...
It's good.
Yes.
Yeah, no, this is another one of those beers that I view as like a regular beer in my rotation. It's a recipe that I've kind of toyed with a lot, but I feel like I've kind of locked it in to my taste buds, which to me is the beauty of home brewing, right? Is you develop a recipe, you develop flavors the way you want to taste them.
Yep.
So
what's the malt? There's one specialty malt here. It's some kind of roasty, dry malt in here, and you're gonna say it, and you're like, oh, well, it's. I've learned the secret of the ESB. It's 1 pound of. What is it?
the secret in this that I really love is a touch, a hint, a wisp, if you will, of pale chocolate.
Pale chocolate.
Pale
really?
chocolate.
Okay.
So overall, this beer's looking at, it's, you know, English 2-row malt is the majority of it, like 85%, and then Crystal 40.
Okay.
A good English Crystal 40.
Yeah.
Like 5%, and then you need I usually use like 2/3 of a pound of biscuit to really put that breadiness in there, and to kind of, in my opinion, I've thought about this beer a lot, balance against the caramel flavor.
Yeah.
And then just to drive the color, and it puts a little bit of roast in the back of your mouth, is that pale chocolate.
That's what I'm tasting, because there's a dry roastiness to it that I don't think I've ever had in other ESBs, but it works so well here, you know.
And the color is like spot on. It's not brown, but it's like that deep mahogany.
Yeah.
It's darker than a pale ale, than any of the other English pale ales would be. It's a little bit darker, so it kind of, when you look at it, it tells you I'm rich. And the head is a little bit off-white, tan, almost tawny.
Yes.
I could wax on poetically about this beer.
The only thing I would say, I think there should be a little more of the East Kent Golding's hop aroma there at the nose. That's the only thing I would say.
So, interestingly enough, I always play around with it a little bit. I'm always still tweaking it.
Yeah.
This beer, actually bittered this beer with Challenger.
Challenger.
Usually I go East Kent Golding through the whole thing.
Sure.
But this time I went with Challenger for most of the bittering. There's a little EKG at the 60-minute edition. But I definitely agree with you that I could use a little more hops in the late editions to drive home that earthy East Kent thing.
I think that's what it is.
To be fair, this beer's a little bit old.
So it might have faded away a little bit.
But right. So the hop character's probably faded away a little bit. But overall, the beer is still great. I find that ESB, when it's brewed really well, ages fantastically. I mean, it holds up pretty well.
Yep.
It's a great beer because I brew this to about 1058, 1056. So it's slightly bigger than, which is, it's the high end of the English pale ales. It's kind of like a celebration pale ale, English pale ale. I love it. I just love it, you know. I like just to sit back with a good 20-ounce pour of this.
Yeah. And
just sip it away and just really enjoy it because there's so much character to it.
Yeah,
you know.
And it is kind of a. I mean, even though it has a high starting gravity, I don't sense any kind of strong alcohol presence. I mean, it seems very session-y to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's like the key to it. Obviously, is great fermentation. If you remember from a previous video, probably several months ago, where we did the stout split yeast, we did the ESB split yeast. The problem that both those beer has, they were slightly under-attenuated. This beer is not under-attenuated.
No, I was going to say, this is drier than the cream ale we had last week.
And I was exploring different yeasts with this one. And when I brewed it this time, I used WLP 013, which is, I can't remember what that's called, London Ale or something like that.
Yeah, it might be.
And the thing about that yeast, it's got a slightly higher attenuation than the other yeasts. And it also says that it brings a little bit of an oaky, estery quality to it, and I definitely think that I get that. When it was a little bit fresher, I definitely could taste an oaky character, but I think that oaky, and by oaky I mean maybe slight vanilla tannin type thing, plays really well with the pale chocolate.
Okay, one last question before we wrap it up.
Oh my gosh.
Water chemistry. Did you do anything to change the water chemistry? Noting that we are low in sulfates, and I think that if you did something with gypsum, then maybe that hop aroma would be coming out a little stronger.
Maybe it would be. This beer is free of excess gypsum.
Okay.
Now, the reality is, yeah, brewing an English style beer, you want a little bit more minerally.
Yeah.
Even take the hop thing aside for a minute. Putting some gypsum in there, you want that minerally quality to the water. Next time I brew this, which hopefully will be soon because I love this beer, as we continue to explore water chemistry, that would definitely be the next thing to do. I think I'd probably brew it exactly the same and give a big heavy dose of gypsum.
What we need to do is get you on a plane, go over to London, taste some London Pride
Right.
in a pub, and you'll be like, okay, that's what it's going to be.
Swing by and see the Queen.
Sure. Say hello. Say hello to the new baby. No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, get back on the plane and out of there.
Sweet egg.
All right, well,
Love
that's the ESB tasting.
Yep.
Brewing ESB. It's all about, what, pale chocolate, you're saying?
Pale chocolate. That's the secret. Just a touch.
Just a touch. For John and Michael, brew on.
Long live the Queen.